We now move on to the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, which says it is prepared to use its agricultural machinery and equipment development institutes to power Nigeria's agricultural sector through the use of improved technologies to boost food production. Now, the agency is also focusing on how Nigeria will transition from a community-based economy to a manufacturing economy through the improvement in science and technology and the empowerment of Nigerians to develop the nation's manpower. The Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of NASENI says they have established a strategic launch pad that spells out what they want to achieve. The launch pad also clarifies 9 focus areas: engineering and manufacturing, renewable energy and sustainability, health and biotechnology, agriculture and food sustainability, transportation and mobility, education and creative industry, IT and software, construction and smart cities, including defense and aerospace. Well, the Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, Khalil Suleiman Halilu, joins me right here in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, talk to us about your vision for this agency. We've seen Nigeria facing some food crisis, and your agency in the past 1 to 2 years has been developing this agricultural institute to help provide mechanical and innovative support to the federal government in terms of boosting food security and all of that.
Well, first of all, it's good to note that NASENI, the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, is the only purposely built agency that does intervention in all areas of science and engineering. It's a model copied from the Asian Tigers, where they have an agency like NASENI that does key interventions, and in all the areas where we copy all the countries, this agency sits in the presidency, just like Nigeria, so that it has little interruption from bureaucracy and can do key intervention. And as you are aware, part of the Renewed Hope Plan, there is a program called the Irrigate Nigeria program, which resides in NASENI, on how to ensure that farmers can farm all seasons, not just once in a year, but multiple times. And it's something we've been practicing, from hydroponics, to irrigations. We have demo, land in Jigawa State, and soon we'll be calling Mr. President to come and launch it. And the success of that, we'll try to replicate it across, the different states, so that we have intervention in terms of food crisis, which is one of the top agenda of the government currently.
And I've seen you actually engage in different sectors to help support the federal government, and then one of them is actually improving the skills and the machinery that Nigerians need in various sectors, as you talked about, including the manufacturing of mobile devices. For example, I saw that during President Buhari's time while he was in government, a phone was launched and all of that. And I'm seeing you right here with it. Can you speak to us more about what exactly are you delving into? Do you bring this innovation in terms of manufacturing and sell it to companies to come and co-invest with you, or you get into it yourself?
Well, part of our mandate is the fact that we can do commercialization, of items. One of the things missing in Nigeria is a state-owned national brand. So when I came on board, I realized that we've done a lot of research, a lot of prototypes, but now we're pushing to see how we can take them to the market. So there's a program we introduced called the CCC, Creation, Collaboration and Commercialization, where we do accelerated technology transfer. We are one of the key agencies in terms of technology transfer in the country. Recently, last year, we were in China. We were able to attract about $2 billion in investment across different sectors. Also, during the COPs in Dubai, we were able to attract 150 million naira to set up
$1 million.
$1 million. Sorry. To set up, battery manufacturing, lithium battery manufacturing that could use for solar home systems and the likes. And of course, we've launched we've done a rebranding, as you can see, and we will be opening showrooms this year in key cities so that we can showcase our products. It's not just about talking about them, but people can enter and feel. And around mid this year, hopefully, Mr. President will launch, the series of our of our products. We recently launched the solar irrigation system during our Senate visit in NASENI, our solar KK, and also solar home systems. I will continue to push the boundary. Previously, I was in the private sector, and one thing we always accuse government is they make policies without really knowing what's going on within the sector. Yeah. But now we're delving into partnering together with private sectors, building this brand so that we can feel the hits and understand exactly, the terrain, so that we make policies and support, as players too.
All right, so you create and manufacture many of these infrastructures. I mean, engineering infrastructure, agri infrastructure, and all of that for different segments of the Nigerian society. Now, talk to us, for example, when you create products at NASENI, how do farmers benefit? How do people in the private sector come to actually partner with you to, ensure that the innovation is diffused to different sectors of the economy? How do we ensure that some of your products actually help to support the government to boost the economy and all of that?
Well, first of all, we select key areas of intervention, that has a lot of social impact. And of course, being a government agency, we're not to hold on to patents. We're supposed to seed them out, to SMEs. So we do stakeholder engagements, and, we give out these technologies. As you're aware, we have multiple institutes, about 12 institutes focus on various things. We keep inviting stakeholders, to interact with, to build products with. We recently have a new technology hub coming up where you have both public and private sector players under the same umbrella, exchanging ideas, coming up with products, coming up with prototypes. And when you're talking about our accelerated technology transfer, there's something we call leverage manufacturing, where we find players have already done most of the work. Instead of reinventing the wheel and start building factories from scratch, we come in, partner with them and accelerate that. And that's how we're able to come up with a lot of products within 6 months. Typically, if you are going to build factories, from scratch, minimum you're talking about 2 years. But we understand that we're not there to compete and make a huge profit, but mainly to be an enabler, and try to build the middle class. That's when you talk about industrialization. So we've seen a lot of interest, and there are areas where we can tap in. For example, partnership with other government agencies, what they consume, how we can come in, and build a national brand around that. And that has, raised a lot of interest from private sector players, help us attract funding. Because NASENI is a very strong agency. The president is our chairman. We have 11 ministers on our board, including the CBN governor. So whenever you speak to foreign investors around this, that's music to their ears. They want to know they're partnering with an agency that protects them fully.
The ears of the president.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Very interesting indeed. Now, I'm very much interested in some of your institutes that you have, because you say you're using these institutes to actually drive development. You have an Advanced Manufacturing Technology Development Institute, which is based in Taraba. There's the Agricultural Machinery and Equipment Development Institute based in Nasarawa, Electronics Development Institute based in Anambra, Engineering Materials Development Institute based in Akure, Hydraulic Equipment Development Institute based in Kano, and it goes down. Now we're in an agricultural crisis at the moment where, for example, there's National Food Security Challenge. So when you have that Agricultural Machinery and Equipment Development Institute, which I think President former President Buhari launched some time ago in Nasarawa, how have you been able to use this to actually create particular machinery that could help farmers, for example, boost production? And then what kind of patents, for example, have you been able to get there that could not only just be for Nigerians, but other African countries could come purchase our technology from us?
Well, as you know, Nigeria, the dynamics and the terrain is very different. And we understand that a lot for things to work, effectively in Nigeria, you have to domesticate them. So part of our technology transfer process is first technology transfer, domestication, and commercialization. And NASENI has one of the highest number of engineers, as an agency. So what we do is we engage, new products that come into the market, or find specific sectors where we have issues. For example, if you're talking about food preservation, then we come up with prototypes, do stakeholder engagement, and distribute this technology. Yes, we patent them, but we're not patenting them to hold on to it and maximize profit. Is to protect, the country as a whole. Recently, we've had, ministers coming from Sierra Leone, hearing about the things we do and saying, okay, how can we do an exchange program, to transfer technology? And one thing to take note is, we are very much respected, Nigerians, across, other African countries. Whenever there is a product that has done well, easily, it penetrates into these African countries. So we use these development institutes to domesticate, these interventions and then try to, seed them out through various channels. Also continue replicating, this product across industry. That's why we have private sector. If you look at our budget this year, a lot of it goes into counterpart funding. And that is to say we understand that, yes, we have resources, but once you blend it with private sector financing, you go a much, much longer way. So we've been putting a lot of efforts and it's been yielding results. And
they are showing interest, actually, from the private sector.
Everybody wants to partner with the president's company.
Well, of course, I'm very interested. Now, let's look at some of the scientific equipment that you've been providing. I mean, there are two of them. I think there's Scientific Equipment Development Center Institute in Enugu. There's another one in Mina. Yes. Again, so what kind of scientific equipment, for example, have you been developing for Nigeria?
Well, there is one thing we call the science kit, where we give interventions to secondary school, because you need to catch them young in order to build the science and engineering infrastructure in the country. So we do certain interventions. Is a kit which is our product, patented. We've also sold a few to African countries where it has the different equipment that is needed in a science laboratory, and this has been, creating a different breakthrough. Last Friday on International Women's Day, we launched a program called Delta, Developing Engineering Leaders Through Her. We've realized that the world average for female engineers is 28%, while in Nigeria is 5%. And we think that this is completely unacceptable. So we created a program deliberate, to encourage women engineers in Nigeria. So we've carved out a fund in NASENI. We've set up a website, delta.pict.gov.ng, where they apply with their ideas, get funding, get mentorship, get support, in order to accelerate the number of female engineers in the country.
Now, talk to us about President Tinubu's vision as we try to round off this conversation on developing the capacity of the average Nigerian to be able to believe in the country and believe in the kind of sort of products that we produce among ourselves. I've seen that apart from phones, you also patented the production of laptops and other equipment here and there. What's the sort of vision? What's the vision behind NASENI as to make Nigeria a technological powerhouse within the continent?
Well, interestingly, Nigerians love Nigerian product, and sometimes they're even willing to pay premium, for it. And the vision is, the president has been speaking about how we can reduce import bill, how we can reduce pressure, on the dollar, and how we can create jobs. And these are all things that we can do. We can kill three birds with one stone in the different interventions that we've been doing. And interestingly, a lot of international players have realized that for you to have a successful operation in Nigeria, you need to have a handshake with a local partner. And this is where we tap in, on that advantage and try to domesticate, our products and also create jobs for our people. And we do this in baby steps. We don't want to go into white elephant projects. So anytime we find a partner, we quickly move them into as simple as assembly. Something that we're consuming that normally comes fully packaged, from China, for example, we say, okay, how can we start assembling them locally to start creating, jobs, and more local value. And then eventually we go into semi-knockdown and complete knockdown. With the whole idea of globalization, you don't have to produce. I'm not a fan of producing everything 100% because that doesn't give you an edge in terms of price. But let's see and understand where we play best, and then we come in and take advantage of that.
And just before I let you go, talk to us about that lithium batteries production. Actually, where is it going to be sited in Nigeria, and what sort of production capacity are you thinking of in terms of volumes?
Well, for the $150 million investment that we got, is going to be sited in Lekki, free trade zone. Interestingly, we're very well positioned to export to South America, not just for internal consumption. And yeah, as you're aware, there's a lot of mineral lithium deposit in Nigeria, especially in Nasarawa. So we're working towards, attracting a partner, that will have value add rather than just extracting this lithium and exporting, for consumption. And as you are aware, in Nasarawa, we also have the solar manufacturing. We're looking at how to upscale that and boost that because we have one of the highest yield of sun, in the world. But essentially, we're looking at, various markets and how we can build that capacity. The partner that we have already has, market in South America, and it's easier for them once produced in Lagos to export it because it's much, much closer than from China. And in terms of jobs, we are looking at creating at least 4,000 jobs, direct and indirect, around that. And the capacity, will continue increasing with time. We've already done some sample products. We've done some outreach in Benue. We're going in Kano, in the next few weeks, and we'll continue to do that. And this solar home system that we've built, we understand the economic hardship, and we're giving payment plans, for people that have acquired it to pay over a period of time.
And so what's the timeline by which we will see all of these things that you have said being upskilled to a level that, every Nigerian will actually feel that you're doing what you're supposed to do and not just having funds being pumped into you, and we're not seeing so much results?
Well, if you're talking about the solar home systems,
specifically,
we're already in the market. We've distributed over 5,000.
Okay.
And it's something that is of very much high demand. The next thing we're taking is the solar irrigation systems. We have a lot of products in the in the pipeline, but I've promised Mr. President he's going to be the one that's going to launch it. So I don't want to break the news here. But for those 3 products that I've mentioned, they're already in the market, and especially for our solar irrigation system, we get advance orders, for this, because typically farmers go to buy diesel or petrol generators and start pumping water, on the farms. But this solves it, and it's also mobile.
All right. I just hope you don't bite more than you can chew, because you also are going into aerospace development. I heard that you were producing helicopters at some point in time. Domesticating during the time of your predecessor. But we must thank you so much. Khalil Halilu is the Executive Vice Chairman of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI. We must thank you so much for joining us to help our viewers understand what the government is doing in that aspect. Well, that's how it's been for this edition of Arise Primetime. Do join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Goodbye and thank you for watching. I'm Somna Sambo.